Welcome to episode 19 of the Speak Up Sports Podcast with Cass, Chris, and Sean. What is going on, fellas? Especially you, Chris. What is going on?
What's good, y'all? Y'all had a good weekend?
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
had a
Happy
great
New
weekend.
Year. Happy
Happy
New
New
Year.
Year,
Happy New Year,
2024.
everybody.
Let's get down to business though, because
Did you have a good weekend, nigga?
Oh, I had a great weekend. So I mean,
shit.
Okay.
I think I got most of my picks right.
That's what we starting off with. That's what we doing today. Okay. Well, we'll get into what we're talking about here in a little bit, but as you guys know, another great week in the NFL, going into the last week of the NFL season. How crazy is that, man?
I feel like it flew by, especially doing this. I feel like it went by a lot faster.
Definitely flew
I definitely
by,
was about to
man.
say the same thing. It felt like it's like should be mid season right now, not the end, not going into the playoffs.
Going into the playoffs, I mean, half the NFL is missing their starting quarterback. It's been a crazy season thus far. You know, we got the release of the Pro Bowl rosters today, so we'll get into that a little bit later. But to start, we got to start in the NFC East, man. A lot of craziness happened in the NFC East, as has been going on throughout the entirety of the season. We'll start with the most controversial game with Detroit and the Cowboys that we saw on Saturday. Obviously, by this point, everybody knows how the game ended. The game ended with Detroit going down and scoring. Then that's when all the craziness happened. They decided to go for two. Jared Goff threw a touchdown pass to an offensive lineman, which ended up, after some celebration, ended up getting called back once the refs made. Do we want to call it a mistake? What do we want to call it? They made a mistake in correctly identifying which one of the offensive linemen were coming in and reporting as eligible to be a pass catcher. And eventually the Cowboys ended up pulling out the win at home against the Detroit Lions. What you guys think about the game, man?
Controversial game on a lot of parts, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, all right. Very controversial on. Of course, I believe the refs did make a mistake. I think he told them. In the video we see 68 and
70,
and Sue will go over there and talk to him, and then he kind of walks away from him. I feel like he turned back and checked who was just talking to me and saw 70 run up there like that and just said 70. I feel like that's what happened. Of course, there was probably a little bit of trickery on the Lions' part, wanting to fool the Cowboys a little bit, but definitely a mistake on the refs' part. But they also should have caught that in-game announcement too, saying that 70 is eligible.
I'm glad you said that, because that's kind of what I wanted to I wonder, like, do you hear as the Lions, you hear them saying, or can you actually hear them saying it?
Yeah.
I know TV copy, we can hear it, but they don't always say it on the TV copy, or it's really low. So I'm wondering, like, do y'all hear that at all when they say it? Because like you said, if they said 70, would that not tell you, like, hold on?
Yeah.
Do you really think it's 70? Because you need to know it's me.
And but in that same light, and just for clarification, number 70 was Dan Skipper, an offensive lineman for the Detroit Lions. Number 68 was Taylor Decker, who was actually supposed to be the correct offensive lineman that reported eligible and ended up catching the pass for what we thought was going to be the game-winning 2-point conversion. The thing, while I do understand that they do announce it, there's so much stuff going on, especially in a game of that magnitude, because you are, at that point in time, they are technically both fighting for the 2 seed. At that point in time, we thought the chances were slim that the Cowboys would get the 2 seed. And we'll get into how those chances are no longer slim. But with that being said, it's there's a lot of stuff going on to pay attention to what's being announced to the rest of the stadium, as well as the fact that if you did hear that, now you have to burn a timeout in a tight game where the Cowboys, after they score that 2-point conversion, the Cowboys still have 30 seconds to try to go down and kick a field goal, burning a timeout or even score a touchdown. Burning a timeout at that point in time is probably not something that you want to do either. But how do you guys feel obviously we know how the call went, and it was a mistake, and they did end up giving the Cowboys a game. It was a great game in terms of Jimmy Johnson getting his his name finally retired and being put in the Ring of Honor with the Cowboys. I mean, what a great moment when he signed off with the how about them Cowboys. You knew it was gonna come, and that was a fantastic moment, and you knew they probably weren't going to let them lose in that circumstances. The aftermath of it, now that once it was called back, they ended up going for it 2 more times. The first time it ended up being an offsides, and then the second time, obviously, Jared Goff kind of threw a poor pass, and it didn't end up getting completed. Mm-hmm. Cowboys obviously ended up winning off of that. How did you guys feel about that decision?
So I did initially agree to go for 2 for win initially, but then when that happened, I probably would have kicked it. Mm-hmm. I probably kicked this, and the third time that's a sign, in my opinion. The second time was a sign like, hey, kick this ball. Like, I'm trying to tell you, like, kick it. At that point, I felt like I guess he felt in his mind he was stuck. Like, if I went for it, I might as well keep going for it. But I think he had a better chance to just go ahead and tie it, because I think Detroit would have ultimately won the game in overtime. I do think that.
I think it was a bold move, definitely on Dan's part. In hindsight, kind of looking at it, I don't think they really. They obviously didn't want to play another overtime. Didn't want to leave it out there, the risk of any kind of injury or anything happening too on top of that, because you are in the playoffs. You did clinch your spot, clinch your division. So playing another quarter, probably wasn't in their cards, in their original game plan. So I think that had a lot to do with the choices late. I wouldn't have made those choices. He's standing on it too. He's standing his ground.
He's definitely standing on business. Came at the radio host today.
I heard that radio host
talking about at the end of the day, he is standing on business. He can say, hey, don't sugarcoat it. If you feel if it was wrong, go ahead and say it to my, or technically say it to my face, even though they're on radio. But hey, I love it, honestly. I love it because at the end of the day, you told your team that you wanted to go down, you're going to go score, and you guys want to keep the ball in your offensive hands to close the game out and getting that 2-point conversion. So I absolutely love the decision. I don't know if I love the play call, but at that point, it's like, we gave you 3 different looks, 3 different options. How many plays do you really have?
Or want to give away, too.
Yeah, want to give away, too. But, I mean, it was also just if Jared Goff gets that ball out of there, they probably do still score. It wasn't, he kind of short-armed it, which he did with a lot of passes because, I mean, that interception that Donovan Wilson had where on that out route, I mean, it was just Jared Goff did not have a great game. He didn't play a absolutely poor game either. Dak played a pretty good game as well. Jared Goff had 271 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Dak kind of had the inverse, 345 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Obviously, we saw the big play to CeeDee Lamb that should have been a safety, and that's another thing where you got to kind of look back and be like, look, and what the hell is going on with the NFL and nobody wanting to wrap up, man? Like he had Barnes had a wide open safety on Dak Prescott and decided to try to lay him out. Dak bounced off the man and then ends up throwing a 92-yard touchdown to CD.
Yeah,
and it's like
it was an interesting game.
It's one of the things. As far as that, I mean, you can look at it that way. That what if that's what they're being taught, to protect the quarterback type ordeal. Because if let's say he did hit him and wrapped up, but he got the ball away, they're gonna say, "Oh, did you drive him to the ground?" And something like that. And I'm wondering, like, is this kind of stuff playing in the back of their heads? Because, like you said, like you didn't even wrap up. You just tried to put your whole body weight on. Hopefully, he fall down. But Dak ain't a small person.
Not even that. Right before that, if you see the end zone shot, I think it was I forgot which number it was, 51, something like that. They were coming straight at him, but kind of like just completely just whiffed it initially. That's the stuff that goes to their head is like I can't really go out and hit them because they're gonna call it.
And that's the thing. People have been mentioning that the same thought process that you guys have mentioned in terms of like not wanting to get in a penalty and stuff like that. But in my head, I'm like, if you why would you try to lower your shoulder and get a big hit anyway? Because if the refs see the big hit, They're just natural human nature. They're gonna be like, oh, he smacked the quarterback. So I'm like, just wrap up. You don't even have to take him down. Just hold him, and it's a safety.
Yeah.
If that's the thought process, in my opinion, how I'm thinking.
Because if you hold him, they're not that quick to blow the whistle. He can throw the ball out of it. It wouldn't be a safety.
But I'm saying at that point, you're getting him face up. Like he ain't gonna be able to throw the ball underhand. You know what I'm saying? Like you're like bear hugging him basically. Get him around his arm so he can't do that. But obviously, it's easy to say when we're sitting here.
Right.
At
that point, even in that position, if I was saying, I would just try to take your head off. If you get the penalty, oh well, at that point. But but you wouldn't have known that was going to be a big 92-yard touchdown.
Yeah, that was tough.
Definitely tough.
It was. He dove at his feet and everything. It was big. This game had a little bit of everything too. It had the controversial, little, I guess you could say, turnover kind of that we've seen. Is getting reviewed in the offseason to see if they want to continue forward with when if you fumble it out the end zone.
So how do you guys feel about that?
I don't like it.
It's the rule.
I get it's the rule, but I don't like that shit at all.
I completely disagree.
I get like what else would it be? Like what else do you want, right? If you don't want that to happen, what needs to happen then? I don't have the right answer for that. But I also don't think the other team should get the ball.
Take it out if you ain't got no real answer for it, man. That's the defensive end zone. This is my territory. This is all I got. This is what I got to defend. You decide you come in my territory and you ain't being secure. It's my shit. Give me my shit. Nah.
And also
don't have nothing.
And that's what I was just about to go straight to that. We talked about it a lot earlier on this season, just about how all the calls are made for the offense. I mean, there's nothing you like very rarely lose an offensive play aside from intentional grounding. You don't lose a down. So for something like that, it's like, how am I going to reward you for fumbling? Like, you fumbled. That's at the end of the day, like you shouldn't get rewarded for a negative.
I don't think you should get the ball back for not recovering either, though. But
you did recover. It went out your end zone. It's in your end zone. It's in your shit. So
I hear you. But that reason what you just said is exactly why it will get changed.
It probably will get changed
because offense rules, and that's just how it is.
And they're gonna do it. It got to be loss or down. Take your ass back to like the 15 or 20. It gotta feel like something. Because if you telling me
fourth down out of field goal range, you got to convert.
Some.
Well, I'm saying, okay, if it's a first down, if it was a first down run, you still gonna say fourth down? That's what I'm saying. Like fourth if it was okay, that's what I'm asking. You said okay, it doesn't matter what down.
It don't matter what down it is. If they're going to change it, it has to be in my opinion, it has to be something that benefits the defense. Like, you cannot keep doing this to the defense where it's everything, like having a spot foul on a pass interference, which is crazy. Like, nigga might not even caught the ball. Now all of a sudden, because you got a couple hand fights, now you got the ball 60 yards downfield. Like, come on, dog. Come on, dog.
That is like, crazy when you think about it.
When you think about it, it is crazy.
Even to the point where you have Nick Sirianni coming out and being like, yo, we actually played. We tried to throw, last week. What was it, against the Seahawks? He came out and said, 2 weeks ago, we tried to throw for a DPI. Like, that is insane, and that's not something that you should be trying to incentivize. Roger Goodell, the NFLPA, whomever, you shouldn't want that, and that's not like that's crazy to me. Like, you shouldn't want that. It's supposed to come down to mano a mano. I'm better than you type deal. It's not supposed to come down to the ref is better.
Position, so let me run into this.
And there was a point in time where even pass interference used to be strategy for defense, because it's like, you can't. I'm not trying to give up I might have gotten beat, but I'm not trying to give up a touchdown. So we saw it in the college football playoff this past weekend. Somebody was getting cooked. They went ahead and tackled him. It was only a 15-yard penalty, but at the end of the day, you gave that up instead of giving up a touchdown. Yep. So it's like, the defenses are just put in such tough positions. can't touch the guy after 5 yards, even if it is somehow it seems like even if it is within 5 yards, you still might get something. It's just like, golly, a 5-yard penalty is an automatic first down. Come on.
the automatic first down need to be looked at for real. Because you turn around, you be like, why? Like, come on, are we just gonna reset? Like, get the fuck out of here.
Like, imagine that illegal contact, 3rd and 15,
automatic first down. Illegal contact 5 yards down the field, nowhere even near the first down marker. Automatic first down.
I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and lie and act like a hypocrite, because when that shit happened with my team, I'd be like, hell yeah, first down, nigga.
Yeah, but when it happens to your defense, you gonna be mad.
Exactly. Especially like when it comes to those late drives, and it always seems to happen on those late drives. It's like it keeps the drive going for the first down. And I'm like, bro, like, it's cool. I get it. You want to sell on TV and shit like that, but at the end of the day, like, come on, bro.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
So outside of that, unfortunately for the Lions, they're basically now locked in to the 3 seed, and the team that might be locked into the 2 seed is now the Dallas Cowboys, because what we saw from the Eagles was very, very ugly. The Eagles versus the Cardinals, man. Chris, speak up, dog. Speak up. Man. What in the hell is going on in Philadelphia?
Hey, man, I didn't know this was one of our picks.
I'm not trying to hear that.
We didn't pick this game, so why are we talking about upsets? Why are we talking about this game? Because
we talk about upsets.
This game doesn't mean anything.
This means a lot for playoff season.
It means everything. It means
everything. No, it doesn't. I'm not trying to hide about nothing.
See, we didn't.
The thing about it, we talked about this early. We talked about it about 2 weeks ago, and I told y'all we probably going to end up playing Buccaneers, and I said we already beat them, so I'm not worried about them. I said,
okay,
go check the clip. I already said we was going to be 5th seed because I already seen how we've been playing. We have not been playing good at all.
The thing about it is we didn't pick the Eagles Cardinals game out of respect for the Eagles, thinking that they were going to handle business. But before we get too deep into it, obviously what we've been alluding to since the beginning of the show, the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Arizona Cardinals, the revenge game for
Jonathan Gannon.
My guy, Jonathan Gannon. Kyler Murray came in at 8. The Cardinals ended up coming in to Philly, getting a last-second dub, 35-31. Kyler Murray, 25 of 31, 232 yards, 3 touchdowns, one ugly pick six.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts on the other end, he had 167 yards and also had 3 touchdowns and an interception. What's going on, man? Like, the offense is putting up 31 points. Obviously, we can keep going and talking about the defense, and at this point, they have been probably over the last 5 weeks, 6 weeks, they've probably been a bottom 3 defense in the league. I mean, what's going on in Philly? We're hearing all kinds of noise. AJ Brown don't want to talk. Then he want to talk. They say Jalen is about a year removed from being a target TikTok nigga. So what's going on, Chris?
Okay, see, now that's so true.
Is it?
They told him to go grab that
That's
tripod.
some trolling shit right there. The other two, yeah. But, I mean, honestly, hey, yo, we trash. But not for real. I mean, it's hard to say. Again, you can still point it back to the, we lost both our coordinators. Obviously, they clearly were way more important than we gave credit to them. But, I mean, that's why that's why both
lost
of them head
a
coaches.
Third coordinator as well. Because the switch with the side.
I'm talking about that. But anyway, honestly, it's the scheme. I'm not even gonna say it's just the players, but I put a lot of it on the scheme because the type of scheme that they play defensively, it really doesn't. It doesn't coincide with what kind of talent we have. We played 5 yards. We played 5 yards off. Well, not really 5 yards. We actually played like 7 to 10 yards off, and that's why we're one of the worst third down defenses in the league.
Mm-hmm.
They get 3rd and shorts. Why are we playing 10 yards off the ball? Easy catch. And that's been our scheme this whole season. And it's just some games our offense is playing good enough to win, and in the game they're not, our defense just can't.
And even with the offense, I mean, obviously they put up, well, I say 31 points. Like I said, Sidney Brown did have a pick six, which was a fantastic return by him. Went for like 99 yards.
Yeah, he took
99 yards. Yep.
Yeah, a fantastic 99-yard pick six that he had. What was it, right before the half, in the second quarter. But the offense, obviously we've seen the frustrations throughout the season from A.J. Brown. We haven't necessarily seen the frustrations from on the other side from Devontae Smith, well, out publicly in the media, or, he hasn't been demonstrative about it. We have had Jalen Hurts say, it doesn't seem like everybody's locked in. Jason Kelce said the same thing. You've had, I saw Jordan Mailata came out and kind of defended A.J. Brown and was like, look, he's a great leader. He took us out to, what was it?
Escape room.
Escape room.
Yeah.
Niggas was like, fuck y'all doing in an escape room. but do you, and I don't want to just put this out and say like, this is exactly what it is. But do you think that it has anything to do with some of the notoriety that not only Jalen Hurts is starting to get, as a personality outside of football? He was in in GQ magazine. Obviously he got a huge contract, and people kind of opposite of what his college career was kind of like, where he's looked at now as he was starting to get looked at as not, he's one of the better pure passers and stuff like that, as well as Jason Kelce. He has a whole, these are two of your bigger leaders. He has a whole kind of new personality outside that wasn't something that was a part of his, the majority of his career.
Yeah.
He got voted best looking dude or something in the world. Pause. Not saying that it has. I don't know. I'm not in the locker room, but do you think that might have something to do with it?
No, I actually don't. I really don't. I think it's one of the things where, we had a whole year worth of actual real game film on Jalen Hurts taking over the offense. And I think that teams are starting to, adjust to what the kind of things we were doing last year. Because it seemed like everything we were doing last year, everything just wide open. I think people have adjusted to it. And as far as the offense go, I think Sirianni hasn't implemented anything to, adjust to their adjustment. Because his thought has always been like, players make plays, like our players are just better than yours. But scheme helps. Scheme works. And a good scheme can trump good players. Like,
absolutely.
And I think that's one of the main things going on as far offensively. Same thing defensively, but we also lost more players on the defense side. So I actually thought we would have regressed, but not to this man. You got film on Jalen Hurts now. You can't. I can't. The Jalen Hurts that we had his first year starting, nothing like his last year. They look totally different. And so now it's like, okay, we got a whole year worth of work from you. And if the word on the street is we run the same plays all the time.
Definitely do be looking
like
that
is the case. If that is true, if there's some substance of us running, people figured it out. And now it's like, okay, what is your adjustment? What is your adjustment? No, we're not going to adjust. We're just going to keep running what we run because our player's better than yours.
And I honestly feel like, and we did see Julio Jones, he had two touchdown catches this past week, which was a little different from the Dallas Goedert, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. But It honestly seems like it hasn't, just in general, the offense, even though they still have been good, they still have been producing at this, pretty similar levels to last year in terms of just efficiency and even points. I mean, whether they still top 5, top 6 in scoring on offense, it doesn't seem like it's balanced enough. Not only just it within the run game, like mixing in the run game, but it doesn't seem as balanced in terms of the splits between A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And it just seems like, there's like 2 drives where they're like, we got to force feed A.J. Brown. And then it's like, oh, we can't forget about Dallas Goedert and we can't forget about Devontae Smith, get him a couple passes here and there. And then it's right back to A.J. Smith dominant. And then when we're seeing like him frustrated, like on the side, obviously in this past week, it was like the sequence of plays they ran was like quarterback draw, like screen to the opposite side from A.J. Brown. And then we saw A.J. Brown coming off the sidelines, shaking his head and whatnot. It's just crazy. Like it's really interesting to see what's going on. And do you guys think that You guys think that Nick Sirianni can handle it? Can handle all of the, you know, number one personalities, because it is a lot of personalities in that locker room. Especially adding Shaq Leonard too. Like which he didn't have a great game either. But sorry, my boy. But but do you think that Nick Sirianni is the coach that can handle that? I mean, it is his third year. This is kind of around the same time that Doug Peterson and the kind of wheels started to fall off for them. Are we seeing history repeat itself?
That's an interesting question. I think it's something that, I mean, they're real kind of tight-lipped about exactly what goes on in the locker room, but I think this is something that you would definitely see if this season ends up badly. They go and lose to the Bucks or lose in the second round. I think this is something we're going to hear a lot of stories about what the fuck's going on. And I don't think it'll be anything favorable about Nick Sirianni personally. It'll be interesting to see exactly what people.
There's already been a couple stories that came out about Hurts, you know, and you know, they saying that maybe he's. I saw some rumblings maybe saying he's maybe not as good as they thought he could have been, something along those lines. But I think you're right, Cass. Honestly,
it's gonna be interesting.
I mean, if the people who are leaving, who I think going to leave, he's going to have a difficult time trying to contain it. I think that has more to do with why you don't hear a lot of things out of Philadelphia. I mean, we still got great older leaders. You know, the Fletcher Cox, Jason Kelsey, Brandon Graham, Lane Johnson. You know, that's one of the things they you know preached about. You know, Philadelphia Eagles throughout the years, like they got great locker room presence. And outside of, again, another quarterback situation, Carson Wentz, you usually don't have teammates that have issues with each other. And so if they leave, I don't know if Nick can handle all the personalities at that point. I will admit that I'm not sure.
And even
because
with
he's also not control. He's also like always preaching, you know, where I wear my emotions on my shoulder, and that it sound good, but when you let everybody in the locker room do what they want, or
just freely
show
freely
show the emotion, then it's like, can you reel that back in when you need to? Like, it's not always conducive with what you're trying to, you know, make happen.
And even with the Carson Wentz situation, I mean, we still really don't even know. Like we've heard, I mean, we've heard the little rumblings. We've heard the, you know, what was it, Darren Sproles versus Carson Wentz, and some people saying that like Carson Wentz was kind of. Everybody made the assumption that it was, you know, the Nick Foles and a little bit of jealousy there, and you know, we saw some reports about Carson making some remarks in the training facility, basically talking about like it wouldn't have been,
team wouldn't be nowhere without me,
without him type deal. So, but we really don't even know. We really have no clue what happened with Carson Wentz, like in terms of the full totality of it. So, I mean, it'll definitely be interesting. Are you thinking that this is going to be the last year for the core four?
I do. I think so. I think
for all of them, or are you thinking just
not all of them? Lane Johnson, he's going to still be there. I'm pretty sure that the two main ones will be Kelsey and Fletcher Cox. Kelsey being more so, I'm ready to retire. Fletcher Cox, the last 3 years, he been on 1 year deal. So it could be a situation where, you know, he really can still make some money somewhere and it just not working out. So I could see them two, especially leaving Brandon Graham, just because he's Brandon Graham. They're not going. He'll take whatever money. He'll take $1. He just loves playing there. So I'm sure he's not in. I think Lane Johnson probably got like 3 more years.
It's really going to be interesting because, I mean, there's going to be a lot of changes because I maybe Slay, but I doubt. I mean, I don't know what the contract situation is in terms of dead cap and stuff like that. But James Bradbury, I don't know if he'll be back next year.
I think it's $4 million. I read it was $4 million after June 1st, and then the next. But if we cut him, it's 4 years for this year, but it'll still be another one more.
I mean, even Slay. So, I mean, he's getting up there in age. Is what are you gonna do with Shaq Leonard and just the linebacker position in general? You know,
and then we gotta pay Devontae Smith.
Got to pay Devontae Smith, or are you gonna let him go? You know, DeAndre Swift is his contract year as well. It's a lot. It's a lot of decisions, and one more question that I have for y'all, because we're speculating and everybody's been speculating, obviously, because the Eagles they look like a team that is just going straight downhill. Some people might even argue they look like a team that is just waiting for their day to come, which some people might even say would be the first week in the wild card. Do you think it's just we could just chop it up simply as a Super Bowl hangover? Because we see it all the time with teams, following a loss, even following a win, we see it all the time. Last year, obviously the Bengals got on track, but they started off 0-2, 1-3, and ended up getting back on track. Do you think that is kind of the case there, or what?
Yeah, I mean, it could be considered
Mixture
a
of all
delayed
of it.
one, I guess.
Mixture of all of it. That's what I would say. It's just also the personalities in the locker room. I really think that's something huge too, especially after that loss and then after reaching where they reached. It's gonna be tough, man. Because if you don't make it at least to the NFC Championship, even if you're in the NFC Championship and lose, like I feel like it's so much going on in that locker room that we just don't know about. I really feel that way. I don't know if that shit is sustainable. I think so.
I don't think so. Did y'all see AJ Brown full interview today?
Yeah, I watched most of it, and you can kind of tell. I mean, he was obviously frustrated. He's obviously frustrated. He said everybody in the locker room is frustrated. Everybody in Philly is frustrated. We get it. We get that. I'm wondering if part of his frustration is because he's so close to Jalen Hurts. There are some things that maybe can't be said or shouldn't be said between the two of them. And I broached the question about Nick Sirianni, but is Jalen Hurts the leader that can take over that?
That's something that. But is he?
I mean, my thing is, I think because, like you said, because they're so close. But I think people are looking at it as he's literally like it was like basically people were saying early in season, he's throwing a tantrum, he's making Jalen throw him the ball. But what if he's not? What if he's literally not doing it? His frustration is coming from y'all trying to portray it like I'm making him do it, but this is my homeboy. Like I'm not about to ever put him in that kind of position to fuck something up like that. And y'all are saying it's me, and it's like in his mind, like it's clearly not me, but I'm not trying to, out somebody else. Like it's Nick Sirianni who can't call these damn plays, but y'all saying, oh, it's you because you asking for the ball, and it's like I feel like in that situation, yeah, it's tough because he don't want to put nothing on the onus on Jalen. He not gonna throw Jalen, but because that's his homeboy, but he literally taking all the blame for something that might not even be him doing.
No, that's fair.
And I think that's because they are friends. If they wasn't friends, I think we will probably have a better picture of what the issue would be.
What's going on. Yeah.
Right. Because he got that kind of personality. But he like, that's my homeboy. I'm not about to put it on him if he fucking it up. But I'm mad that y'all telling me you begging for the ball, you messing up the offense. Because even Donovan McNabb came out and said it looks like he's messing up the offense. The offense doesn't flow right because they just force feeding the ball. And it's like, I mean, but you can't say that when we were winning. But we were winning though. So I'm like, what are we talking about?
That very well could be right, but I don't care nothing about what Donovan McNabb got.
No, I'm not saying he's right. No, what I'm saying is people. I was giving him as an example, but I'm saying that's what siders are saying.
Yeah.
Like that's what the majority saying. But yeah, I mean, fuck what he doing. He be mad for no reason.
He be hating heavy, boy. And it's, but I do find it. Another thing that I find it about, because I mean we all watch the national shows, especially on FS1. We do watch, we all see Speak, which is a show that has a former Eagles great and a former Eagles player on it, and Shady McCoy and Emmanuel Acho. And I do think for me it is kind of interesting that listening to Shady talk about it, he doesn't have answers for it, and this is somebody that's like a staunch Eagles supporter. So like that's really where I'm like, yo, like there's really something wrong when this dude, when he of all people, like big talker is like, yo, that shit bad. Like yeah, like that's something where I really pay Donovan McNabb, you can get the fuck on. But when Shady's saying like, "Yo," I'm like, all right, it might be something going on for real." But not to everybody's down on them. Everybody's saying everything on them. They have an opportunity to get this win against the Giants, which is going to be a tough game with Tyrod Taylor getting the start. But they have an opportunity to right the ship. They get a win, and then they get another win in that wild card round, whether it be the Bucs, whether it be the Falcons, or the Saints. The Bucs left that door open this past week. If the Eagles, well, let's not completely say that the Eagles are in the 5 seed, because the Cowboys can very well lose to the Commanders.
That's true too.
I mean, same situation happened exactly last year, which they're probably thinking like, "Oh, we heard all this last year bullshit and handle business," but it's still the Cowboys at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But switching gears to a locker room that seems to be at the highest peak of chemistry, the Baltimore Ravens getting another blowout win against the Miami Dolphins, getting this win 56 to 19. What more can we say about Lamar Jackson putting on a fantastic MVP performance to cap off his MVP year? Obviously, we've got the news today that he will not be playing in this week's game, because they have now clinched the 1 seed, getting that win over the Dolphins. But Lamar, 321 yards, only 3 incompletions, 5 touchdowns, a perfect passer rating. Pretty quarterbacky to me, after old girl, I don't even know her name, came out on Sirius Radio saying that she likes her quarterbacks quarterbacky. And I mean, it's just amazing. It's just amazing that immediately happens right after.
Yeah.
Number one, how do you guys feel about that game? And then how do you guys feel about that comment in itself? The consistent, I guess, pigeonholing of putting Lamar in, and not to hate on my boy, but I would say like what we saw this weekend with Jalen Milroe is a guy that is a scrambling quarterback. Jalen Milroe is what people think Lamar plays like, in my opinion. Not to say that Jalen Milroe can't become a better passer, but from what we've seen all season in the college football ranks, he's a quarterback from Alabama, for clarification for everybody. And then what we saw in the college football playoffs this week, we saw that he struggled a little bit throwing the ball, especially when they try to force him to. Well, how do you guys feel about all that?
Well, we kind of touched on it a little bit last week. As far as like this, it's like an extra stigma that Lamar has to get over. That's not really fair. And that's kind of how I feel about it. This shit is not really fair. It's not a fair way to assess his performances week in and week out. When you're looking at overall impact from that position, like quarterbacky, like what is that? Like she really didn't even offer a legit explanation for what exactly that meant. You can take that as, and a lot of people did take that as a little racist, maybe.
Yeah.
A little, you know what I mean? So it's, and just dumb for even leaving that door open like that. But I do agree with you. Like Jalen Milroe is exactly who everybody says that Lamar is. But Lamar has shown year in and year out, honestly, and game in and game out this season, that he can make all the throws that you need him to make.
Exactly.
Easily. In the pocket, out the pocket, with his eyes closed. Turning
however you want it.
Flipping his stance.
Acting like he's about to throw left-handed.
Exactly.
I mean, what a fantastic play. Like, what? I mean, when you got another dude on the opposing team that just got 50 on their head being like, yeah, that shit was dope. Like, come on, dog. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead, continue.
No, that's pretty much what I was gonna say. Like, when you can't keep pigeonholing him, putting him in his box, and trying to really compare him to other quarterbacks like Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, like traditional quarterbacks, pocket quarterbacks. Like, you got to judge him for who he is. Don't judge him against other people. And let's see what he's doing. Judge the work. Don't judge. But that's how it always is too. But of course, you don't want to say like, because the caveat for that can be, well, I wasn't, for it not being a racist comment, is that Patrick Mahomes, of course, is black and and
that's
and it's.
I want to hear what Chris has to say before I unleash.
and it's more of that mode. But go ahead, Chris.
Man, Lamar Jackson, he great, man. He one of the great ones, and it's a shame that, like you said, Kaz. I mean, it's more so. It is what it is. Like it is racist. It is built in racism. Because what do you mean by that? Like you're just saying, like we, like I'm like we're still. It's just crazy. Like we're still in this time where y'all said this ahead draft when he was getting drafted. How many years ago was that? How many years ago was that? And we're still talking about this. He already won the MVP, and we're still talking about can he throw the ball? Like it's a fucking shame, honestly. Like they should be talked about like a juggernaut, like how y'all was like folks hyping up San Francisco. Now this how Lamar should be talked about right now at this very moment. Because who can beat them? If when he's on his game, he's on his game. Like at this point, it's like, what are we talking about?
Yeah,
and it's not even just the team, but like how they've been talking about the Joe Burrows and the Josh Allens and Justin Herberts, Trevor Lawrence, all these guys that were boosted above Lamar won, and he was an MVP. Obviously, he didn't make it to a Super Bowl like Joe Burrow. He didn't go to the AFC Championship like Josh Allen, but at the end of the day, like people act like Super Bowls are just supposed to, and even in the, I hate to bring it to like switching, comparing, two different sports, but for me personally, just me and my observation in terms of like things that have gone on over the years. Obviously, you guys all know that I'm a LeBron fan, but I think it goes back to LeBron. Like it goes back to everybody made it seem like just getting a ring is just easy. Like you're great, so you're supposed to just go make playoffs and go get rings. Like Peyton Manning has 2 rings. Peyton Manning has 2 rings. Obviously, he's been to 4 Super Bowls, but he didn't get his first ring until 2006. He was drafted in 98, so it's year 8, year 9. Like, obviously Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes are a little different. Patrick Mahomes, he came into a system where Andy Reid's the greatest offensive coach probably in the history of the league. He also comes into a situation with Tyreek Hill, who's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, and Travis Kelce, who's also going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, as well as other guys on the team. Sammy Watkins was a first round pick. He's a really good player. That's not a knock against Patrick Mahomes at all, and I'm not intending it to be a knock. But Lamar's coming in with Hollywood Brown. Not no disrespect against Hollywood Brown, but we've seen that Hollywood Brown went to a team where he thought they were going to be passing the ball more, and that's why he wanted out of the Baltimore Ravens. And has he proven that he's just – and once again, I'm not trying to disrespect Hollywood Brown, but has he proven that he's a CeeDee Lamb, he's a Tyreek Hill, he's that type of receiver, or has he shown like, yeah, he's a really good 2?
He's a really good 2. That's what we've seen all season.
And some people might even say he probably should just be a 3. Some people might say that. So, like, when your second best receiver is Willie Snead, no disrespect to Willie Snead, but like at the end of the day, my guy, he was a 4th or 5th option for all the other teams that he's on. Now he's number 2. Come on, come on, man. Like you're asking him to, and now they're trying to be like, I saw they had a segment on First Take today talking about, oh, what if Patrick Mahomes switched to the Ravens?
That got a little heated, didn't it?
Nah, nigga, like y'all wasn't saying that the past few years, because what if Lamar had Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and Andy Reid? Like for real now, like come on now. And to go back to the racism comment, this is a tough thing to talk about, obviously, but for us being 3 black dudes, like we understand not only racism, but we also understand, how it goes when it comes to shades.
Yeah.
Like, Lamar, when it, we can say, obviously we know Patrick Mahomes is black. Personally, I'm going to be straight up with you. I did not know Patrick Mahomes was black until I seen his dad. I ain't going to lie to you. I had no clue. I thought he was the Hawaiian nigga.
Oh, yeah, he looked kind of like just,
dead ass. So, and obviously, and I'm not trying to, I don't want to come off as disrespectful, but obviously Patrick Mahomes he has a white wife. Dak, he's very is Dak black? Dak's black, right?
He's mixed too.
His mom is white.
White, yeah.
You know, but Dak is also on that spectrum where it's, you know, there's black and then there's the accepted version of black in America, in society. And you know, Lamar, Cam Newton, Mike Vick would be the guys that you would put into the quote unquote non-accepted. They're a little, obviously, maybe not Cam necessarily in terms of darkness, but Lamar and Michael Vick are obviously a little darker. We've seen the comments of somebody a couple years ago talking about, oh, you can't see the goddamn ball in Baltimore because the ball blends in with the skin. Like, and we know Lamar is, you know, he's a Florida boy. Like, you know, he acts how he acts, you know, pulls up to the game and you know, like pulls up in the game in a hoodie. He wears a ski mask all, you know, every game. Like, he ain't changing. And it's interesting to see like the differences of like how these guys are covered. Like, even to the point of like Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston, you know, obviously, I'm not saying Jameis Winston is mixed. He's obviously not. But, you know, they were demonizing Jameis Winston when he was in college, even though he was a Heisman Trophy winner. And, like, now that he's a backup, people are like, oh, Jameis Winston's a funny dude. Like,
everybody
blah,
love
blah,
Jameis
blah.
now.
Everybody love Jameis.
They try to end his career before he even started.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously.
Same thing with what's his name? I mean, you can even look at Justin Fields. I have my issues with Justin Fields, but you know, they're starting to put him in where he can't pass. And I mean, his statistics have shown us that that's probably true. But at the same time, you know,
it's not
you
like
have other people that'll say that, you know, different things about him. Anthony Richardson, he came in. He's a project, even though obviously, once again, his statistics showed one thing, but his film, as I and some other people were showing, like, yo, this is a dude that can actually pass. That is a great, but not, I won't say a great passer, but he's a good passer. But because he's so physically dominant and because he runs a little bit, now you're all of a sudden trying to pigeonhole him and straight into a scrambling dude that don't know that he can just throw it deep a couple of times and maybe get lucky. Like, and it's kind of crazy to me. It's crazy to me. At this point, Lamar's about to be a 2-time MVP, and he still, if he loses in this first round, do we think the conversation is going to change at all?
No, but that's the crazy part about it, because it's kind of like you in a tough situation. I mean, I'm sure Lamar really don't care that much, but like, as you know, fans, like true fans, especially you know, black men, it's like you see it and it's like, okay, he loses in his first round, it's not gonna be anything, but oh well, Lamar can't pass when it comes down to it. Like, no, there's other factors that go into losing the first round. Like, don't just disregard everything that happened before this point.
It's almost like, not control. It's almost like he has to, and he's gonna. It's gonna sound crazy, but this is how I look at it. Like, that's kind of how like Jalen Hurts was. Like,
and that's what I was just about to say that too.
He had his great year last year. He went to Super Bowl, and you know, we was winning on his dime basically. And now it's like, okay, so you think you could pass it? Now it's like he's getting critiqued like crazy on every single thing he do. They saying, yeah, he had a good year, but he can't really read defenses. It's like going crazy. And I feel like the only reason why, because now they're going to compare, oh, so you were so great last year. And I think that's going to be fucked up part. But I think that'll happen to Lamar, even if he, you know, win the Super Bowl. I feel like next year is going to be like his when he make a mistake, oh my God, he just can't do this. But they don't do that to other quarterbacks though.
And I was actually,
it's like Joe Burrow could do no wrong. It don't matter what he does. No wrong.
None. How many chances we get? Folks give Justin Herbert.
Josh. It's like, okay, Josh throw a lot of picks, but still, they still don't question his quarterback skills. You know what I mean?
He runs the ball too. And I have never heard Josh Allen had to switch positions. I've never heard that Josh Allen was just a scrambling quarterback. Never heard that. And I was going to say, you know, I didn't talk about Jalen Hurts earlier, but it took Jalen Hurts putting on what he went for 300 and 3 touchdowns at the Super Bowl. It took that for people to be like,
okay.
Can he pass? Can he pass a little bit? You know,
even though it was it was good he did it, but it was like, because even after the game, Patrick Mahomes was like, I hope y'all see now that he's actually a good quarterback. And it's like, damn, it took even
It
this
took
for
that.
like now
Like,
somebody else got to
shouldn't
go
even
say
come to
something
that.
for you.
Yeah.
Like,
Shouldn't even come
it
to
took
that.
that.
Like, yeah.
And it's just crazy to me, like, that we're still at this point, because we do, and there's other guys in here. CJ Stroud, he's a black quarterback that, I mean, he's obviously shown, you know, that he's a great, fantastic passer. But before the draft, people were wanting to put him into people wanted to see, oh, let's see what you do. Like, oh, he can't be that good because he can't scramble that well. If you remember, they were like, he can't really move out of the pocket like that. So he can't be that good. He's only going to hit a ceiling.
Yep.
And it's just like,
That's crazy.
damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Bro. It's the same thing with like Dak. It's like, okay, well, is that really that good? Because he can't really move that well. Well, let's judge him as a quarterback. Like, why are we judging him as a scrambler just because he's black?
Exactly. And now all of a sudden, it's once Dak became where all he was doing was passing the ball, he's not moving that much anymore. He's not that good. He's not that good. He's not moving that much. Okay. Like, what are you supposed to do? And I don't even like that. So, you know,
you don't, but like it's weird because like also even on national broadcast when he can get up, any quarterback in this league right now at this point in time can get up and go anytime. Yeah. And that when Dak had that game, I forgot who it was against, but when he rushed for like 70-something yards, like India was taking off that game. It's like, oh, it's a whole different lens that they put on him. Yeah. But I was like, well, why is like where is that? Why is that energy suddenly thrust? You know, I mean, it's weird how they do it, how they advertise it.
One of the things that Chris mentioned that I do, I don't want to keep going on this long-winded ass answer, but you know, he said, "Oh, he can't read defenses." That's always the go-to. Yeah, that's always the go-to. Is he can't read defenses? Well, how the hell did I make it here? How the hell did I make it all this way? I even say that dumb shit too sometimes, but you know, on some talking shit stuff. But like on the real, how did I make it this far if I can't read a defense? But you can. you ain't never played a down of football, but you can read a defense that I can't. All of a sudden, you're telling me, but it's crazy, man. It's crazy. But shout out MVP Lamar, 2-time. You know what it is.
Those Dolphins,
that
though,
stink, don't it?
Those Dolphins.
Yeah, we talked about them, but them Dolphins.
Yeah, the Dolphins. I mean, that's tough, man. They got blown out. Obviously, Mostert didn't play. You know, A-Chain ended up having a great. He might need to get some more love because I mean, it seemed like every time he played, he going for 100.
Every time he play, yeah, he taking
going
off.
for 100.
Facts.
So, you know, but outside of that, Tua, throughout the whole game, he was trying to throw picks. Like he was throughout the whole game. Like even when they was at first, it was like what 14-14, 14-13, something like that. And I mean, I'm like, damn, like Tua, you right there, like that. It could have got picked off, and then in the second half, I mean, they pretty much just locked them up. I mean, think they had only like 24 yards or something like that the whole second half. Yeah, and. Getting a tough injury, Bradley Chubb tears his ACL at the end of the game and basically garbage time. Now you lost your two best pass rushers. You're going into a do or die game going into this week after, you know, getting bludgeoned. It's tough. How do you guys we'll get into it actually, but you know, in terms of the outlook for Tua moving forward, we've now gotten we've had 4 seasons of Tua. 2, we can, you know, he had his issues with Brian Flores, so I'm gonna just give him the pass. But now we've got 2 seasons with Mike McDaniel. 2 seasons, well, this entire season where they've struggled against actual competition, and then last year some of the same, but obviously he had the concussion issue, so we didn't get the complete season from him.
Yep.
Tua's outlook moving forward, do you guys think that they should sign him to a contract?
Yeah, that's the thing. When you're talking money for like big time quarterbacks, did he really show you everything he needed to show you this season? Mm-hmm. And it's hard for me to say yes on that one. Be honest with you. Yes, he's made some great throws. He's made some great throws. He also has some great weapons around him. Mm-hmm. And it's like when you get in those games that we've seen 6-7 times this season against teams with a winning record, it doesn't look the same. Straight up, it doesn't look the same. And whether that has to do with game plan, with how you call the game as a coach, or him seeing the game differently, or getting, I don't know, something happens with him where he just, I don't know what, just starts spazzing. Like is something missing there? And because if you're gonna pay him close to 60 million a year. Is he worth that? Like, is he really worth that? I don't think so.
Taking up close to 30% of your cap, the entirety of your cap, and
that's
then
tough to sell. That's tough to sell, in my opinion.
But I mean, we saying this, but what's the alternative?
What's the alternative? I get that.
I mean, you have like probably, I don't know, the best set of weapons in the league with A-Chain taking off. You got him, Mostert, Hill, and Waddle. I mean, this team is still ready to go. I just feel like if you're not gonna trade for a quarterback, you're not gonna draft one. Not where your positioning gonna be it.
So I'm a little interested in what you guys think. So a couple years ago, when Dak Prescott obviously was up for contract, he went through the whole franchise tag, and there was the questions whether they're going to move off of Dak, try to go get Stafford, or try to go get somebody else. How do you guys feel in terms of where you're like, hey, we do not have a top 5 guy. Why don't we try to, do the franchise tag and then try to make a superstar trade up in the draft to go get whether it be a Jaden Daniels or, they probably won't be able. I mean, depending on what they're giving up, if you want to keep your team intact, you're probably not going to be able to get a Drake May or Caleb Williams. How do you guys feel about teams kind of being like, look, we in order to win a Super Bowl, we basically, you don't need, but that gives you the highest likelihood. You need a guy that's probably top 6 to 7 in the league. I don't know where you guys rank Tua, but how do you guys feel about that? Keep him, like, you try to do what you can to keep him around, and then take your big swing when you feel you can do it.
I think that changed a lot with how much money these quarterbacks are getting now. And it changed the whole equation, because you see teams like, for instance, early on in Pat Mahomes' career, when you're getting paid a little less, you're able to build those pieces around. Yeah, I mean, so like you got, for instance, let's just say that Houston gets their, levels up, and they still paying CJ Stroud for the next couple of years on the rookie scale contract.
To give you a better example, you can go ahead and use the 49ers with Brock. So it's like, it depends on what the organization values. Do you value that? Because you could find somebody that can fill in. Like, I get what you're saying about like top 6 or 7 guy, but if you don't have a top 6, 7 guy, I don't think you should have a middling guy. You know what I mean? Like, I guess you could say money wise, you go low, see if you can find a piece like a Brock, like a CJ, and just surround it with a bunch of talent. I mean, it's 2 ways you can do it. If you really feel like Tua is not a top 6 or 7 guy, which I don't feel like he is, then I think you should go the other route and try to find something else and kind of build up around. And it doesn't necessarily even have to be a rookie either. I mean, if they can get one of these other quarterbacks that are on maybe in their second or third year where their contract has become a bargain, like a la Jared Goff being swapped for Matt Stafford, that's an option as well.
What do you think, Chris? It's interesting.
Man, it's such a compounded like answer, because it really depends on the organizational value, like you said, Cass. Because you can, let me see if I can give an example. Like for instance, you can swing like the Texans we just talked about, but they got a rookie head coach, so they got time. They got time to take a swing. Let's say he had a better team around, you could take a swing and miss, but you got time. You're a rookie coach. Do we think Mike McDaniels had time? Do he have time to go ahead and like, let me transition to a rookie or something like that? And it's like, okay, this your 3rd year coming up with this team, and I mean, you fizzled out. Let's just say you fizzled out again in the first round. Like, do you really want to risk let me try to swing and miss and get a rookie but mess up my season? I mean, like, they looked into Brock Purdy. Nobody knew what he was going to be. That wasn't really a swing and a miss for them. That was luck. They swung and they missed.
They missed on Trey Lance.
They did miss.
Right. They just got lucky, but it really, like you said, Kat, I think it hinges on organizational value and just in general, like the coach, because if he a new coach, you can swing and miss.
I mean, even with when you had Jalen Hurts on his contract before this season, it's like you were able to do more.
I say we swung and we made it with Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson. That was his. He came in with Carson, so it was a swing to get. It was like one of them things where it's like it's better if it's rookie head coach, rookie quarterback. I think the marriage would be better on swinging right, but somebody like Mike McDaniels, I mean, I guess you could franchise tag him and then try it again, but that's risky too.
It depends on how much Mike, because Mike is a good coach. So it also just depends on if he really in those conversations that he's having without Tua in the room or without the media looking, like if he really thinks that Tua is the guy, yeah, he'll get paid.
Another example, you did mention Patrick Mahomes, but what they did with Patrick Mahomes, because if you guys remember, Alex Smith was a starting quarterback, and Alex Smith was getting paid. Alex Smith was a good quarterback. He had led his team to an NFC championship, obviously before he was replaced by Colin Kaepernick, and then the Niners ultimately got to the Super Bowl with him and obviously traded him. But that is definitely something that's interesting. Obviously, we don't know if Tua would sign one of those Alex Smith type contracts. Probably not. But it's definitely interesting. But hey, Mike McDaniel can keep his keep giving himself time as long as they keep winning. Shout out Mike Tomlin, 17 straight years, no losing seasons. That's crazy. Something that's unheard of.
That's crazy.
He could take a swing and swing.
Yeah, that's crazy. They need to do something. They will though.
And but that wraps us up for the weekly review. We had those are the three biggest games of the week. Obviously, we were all looking forward to the Baltimore-Miami game, and it ended up kind of turning into a Baltimore showcase.
Yeah.